David, so we touched on a few topics there. One of the more ones we want to focus on is, you said the businesses that you currently own can affect the football club. So can we ask you how you are and how the businesses are as a whole? How is everything functioning?
Yeah. Well, firstly, starting with myself. As you are aware, I'm up here self-isolating, so I'm very fortunate that I've got somewhere nice to stay in. I feel terribly sorry for all the people that are in, shall we say, the 14th floor of some high-rise in London with a young family. It must be awful. I'm fortunate enough to have a nice house that I can get out and walk around a decent-sized garden, and as you can see behind me, it's a beautiful day here. My kids are also fine, so thank God we're all okay, and thank God most of my friends are at the moment. With regard to the business, again, we're quite fortunate because our business is based in the pet sector. You know, we make products for dogs and cats and sell those through veterinarians, and we're a global business. So at the moment that seems to be okay. The other side of the business is farming. So certain sectors of farming are great. So for example, meat and things like lamb prices are record levels. At the same time, because Costa Coffee is closed and Starbucks and all those places, farmers are having to pour milk down the drain, and they can't sell the milk, so they're in a terrible state, and so that side of the business isn't great. But overall, it could be a lot worse. Again, friends of mine have had to close their businesses completely, and are, you know, in a pretty serious way. The government obviously again has been tremendously helpful to businesses, and again, a lot of my friends have managed to secure loans to help them through this period. From our side, we had to make some tough decisions, and we made those a month ago as soon as it became apparent what was happening in Italy and it was going to happen with us. Again, it's no good waiting till it happens, so we made some pretty quick decisions. Unfortunately, we had to let probably about 10 or 12 people go. We also furloughed 28 people at our headquarters in Lytham, and we put all our sales teams on a 3-day week, so they had an automatic 40% pay cut, which wasn't great for them, but they're stuck at home, they can't visit, and we can't hope that the income comes in. So we've had to make, you know, pretty tough decisions in our business. All the management team there have taken pay cuts of between 25 and 40%, and one of the things I suppose that's been fantastic in that side of my business is everybody's really rallied round, and you know, I can say without exception I've sort of taken it on the chin. I've taken an attitude, we're all in this together, and we've had good times together. We need to go, you know, through those bad times together. So that's been good. I've got an office in Singapore which we've had to close. I've got a business in Barcelona. I've 28 people I employ there. I don't have to tell you what's going on in Barcelona. We've got a business in Germany, slightly smaller, but in Dusseldorf, that's shut down. I got a business in Portugal that's shut down, and I got a business in Ireland that's shut down as well. So all my subsidiaries and offices around the world, and also in Atlanta, which we just opened up recently, are all suffering the same. I mean, this isn't a UK problem; it's a worldwide problem, as we know. So those are really suffering. In most cases, there is government help in most of those markets to look after people. Not as generous as here, but there is a safety net. So the business isn't bad, but we've taken the hard decisions now to make sure that in the future we're not bomb-proof, but at least we're prepared for the worst, because I don't think from a business point of view the worst has come yet. I think there's going to be a knock-on effect eventually, and who knows, again, we're speculating but when that will come, but it will come, and we've got to make sure we're prepared for that. So not great, but it could be a lot worse.
So today's focus, it's obviously great to hear that the businesses, there are plans in place and it is going well, and we know the importance of those businesses for AFC Fylde. I think maybe people didn't know how many other businesses do affect football in general, and people maybe do see the chairman as just having the money, they don't actually realise where it's from, so that does help to get the insight. But the current question that everyone will want to know from us is what is happening with the league. Can you give us insights to what communication you've had?
Well, let me tell you what. Obviously, I think some people, shall we say, in the public domain. First of all, and that is that we've now finally been given the opportunity to vote on how the season should end. And again, from a month ago when this thing hit, it was my view straight away that the season should finish, for reasons that, again, I'll cover a little bit later on, mainly financial reasons. But we've sort of did it around, and eventually they've decided that we will get this vote. I think to a large extent, we've got two camps, haven't we? We've got a camp, and I see that the chairman of Fleetwood down the road, Andy Pilley, on a blog that he was doing the other night, I watched it. I thought it was pretty good insight as well to a football club. Was very much campaigning for let's keep the season going. Let's keep the season going, the integrity of the game, etc., etc. And I've been in the opposite camp of that from day one. What matters is people are dying. What matters is that more people are going to die. And at that time, football, in my view, becomes irrelevant. What we've got to do is be sensible and practical and take measures to protect this great game that we all love. And so I campaigned from a month ago to finish the league. Now, in many ways, a lot of people said to me, David, well, why would you campaign to finish the league? Because you don't know what the outcome is. And they're absolutely right, because we've got 9 games to go, as you know, and we've had the worst season since I've been involved in Fylde. I've never had a losing season since I started, in 13, 14 years ago. Never had one. Had a mediocre season, never had a losing season. So to find ourselves at the bottom of the league has been awful, and it's been painful, but we knew that we still had a great chance, and we just started to play. The corner had been turned. We'd taken 7 points out the last 9. There was 27 points to play for. There was a few teams which we knew were struggling. We had to play, I think, 4 out the bottom 6 in the last 9 games. We were confident we could get out there. But at times like this, you have to think of the greater good of the game, not just selfishly about your own club and your own position. And I know that there's so many clubs that are in a mess at the moment financially, and when you have the uncertainty of not knowing what's going to happen with wages and contracts and all those things, and you couldn't even get a date when the season might start, I just thought it was ridiculous to continue to carry on. So anyway, a month later, finally the league's given us that opportunity, and we've got to vote on it. For some reason, that date of when all the ballot papers are to be collected and counted, they've given everyone till May the 7th. Now, that's a month from now. I find it unbelievable that we can't get that vote done in a week. And then once we've done that, of course, the next decisions come. But we've now put it till May the 7th, and again I think what the reason the league's done that is that they're hoping that maybe by then the EFL or the Premier League will have made some decisions, and therefore it makes it easier for them just to follow suit and say, well, we're just doing what they're doing. That's speculation. But I can't understand why it takes a month to get the result of a vote. So Fylde will be voting to end the league now. So the next question is what happens then, and of course there's been a lot of controversy about that because a lot of clubs have written very strongly to the league suggesting that we need to know what the questions or what the options are, shall we say, once we vote to finish the league. So for example, if we won't vote to finish the league and it was agreed that if we finish the league then the league positions will be finalised on points per game, which is one of the things mooted, as we know it's just happening in Scottish League, then Notts County and Yeovil, no way are they voting to finish the season because they are desperate to get back up. You know, they're two football leagues they formed, they've got the parachute money, they need to do it this year if they're going to do it. So several clubs such as them have been lobbying very strongly to continue the season, and I get that, I understand that, or to have the question asked, well, what are the options? And I agree with the league on this. I don't think we need to know the options. I think first of all let's decide, are we finishing or are we continuing? If we're continuing, I think it'll be a disaster. I know that the BBC Radio 5 Live have done their own, shall we say, secret survey of all the chairmen in our league to get a sort of straw poll, shall we say. And he called me last night and said that at the moment it was 10 to finish the league, 4 to keep playing, and 9 undecided. I think there's somebody who's going to abstain. So that's pretty much, and I think it will probably end up that we'll vote to finish the league. I don't see any point at all. We just have no idea. And then even to play the league behind closed doors, fans aren't going to enjoy it. There's easier ways to sort things out.
Even if that results in Fylde being relegated?
Well, listen, that's a risk, isn't it? It's a risk that Fylde can be relegated. But again, I think we have to do what's right for the game first. And you know, there's nobody hate being relegated than me. But as I said to you at the beginning of this interview, Adam, the most important thing is that we're there at the end. You know, and if that's in Northern Premier League or wherever it is, as long as we've got a football club, and I can't stress that enough. I mean, it is that serious. And look at, nobody thought that would happen to Bury, and let me tell you, there's a number of football clubs out there that everybody knows who haven't got any money before this started. You know, there could be 8 or 9 go up from the National League this year. Unfortunately, we won't be one of them, just to fill the places, just to fill the void. I mean, it is that serious. So yes, we could be relegated. I hope we're not. I hope that sense fairness prevails, but we shall see. So we come to what will be the questions, and I think that there's 2 obvious proposals that I think should be on the ballot paper. One will be points per game, I have no doubt about it. I think the other one should be null and void. There's certain people running around saying, oh, well, you can't have null and void, how can you have null and void? I think, of course, you can have null and void. If you can have null and void for the teams below us, then why can't you have null and void for us, for all of non-league? And I think null and void, trying to not wear the AFC Fylde hat in relegation, with 9 games to go, has to be fair as opposed to points per game, because I think points per game is not a fair way to do it with 9 games to go with 27 points. And if we look at the opposite end of the table, although Barrow, and although they're honestly, they hate us, and they're our arch enemy, and we've had some banter up there over the years. I have a soft spot for them because look, they it's 50 years, isn't it? I keep hearing Ian Everett's on the radio and in the paper all the time saying, "Oh well, you got to let us up," and this. But you can't just let people up on emotion. You've got to be fair. So Harrogate would argue very strongly that they were catching up. They've just had a suspension. Scott Quigley suspended for 3 games. They were going on to a little bit of a bad run. Who's to say Harrogate wouldn't have caught Barrow? So there's all those permutations in there that none of us know about. And Barrow had 9 games left. We've got 9 games left. You can't decide the league on that, and you certainly can't decide relegation on that. That's totally unfair. So it is a complex situation for the league to decide on. Now, what's interesting in our league is, of course, that with the demise of Barrow, to Barrow fans, with the demise of Bury, that there obviously is a place available in the Football League. Now, the Football League have to invite the National League to send someone. You can't just go in, it's not an automatic thing, it's kind of how it's been set up over the years. So there is one place available. So even in my view, even in a null and void situation, that there's certainly an opportunity for one of Barrow and Harrogate to go up, and I think in that particular case, then behind closed doors at a neutral venue, one-off final would be a fair way to decide that, and I think that could be reasonably easy to arrange a one-off fixture such as that, and I think that's the fair way. I don't think that nobody should go up. Having said that, I don't think that anyone should go down either, because of the reasons I've already given you. So the league has a very difficult task. We've all talked about this for a long time, and whatever they do will be the wrong thing in many people's eyes. But I felt, going back to why I voted the way I did, that the most important thing is that we vote for what's good for the league, what's good for our fellow members, and also to make sure that AFC Fylde's there in some shape or form at the end of it.
Join us on Monday evening for part 3 of Behind the Scenes with David Haythornthwaite.